Good afternoon, dear beloveds. This is White Wolf, and we're going to be talking about having a rebellious spirit and why it is actually quite a beautiful thing to have a rebellious spirit. Because on the spiritual journey, we have been shut out, we have been suppressed, we have been locked in, we have been shackled by the human condition, by the 3D. And once we awaken, we understand that we don't have to live our life like that we don't have to live our life like every just Joe Schmo down the street, that we have a choice to create the reality that we desire, to be who we are. Our truest form, our rawest form, our most empowered form. And if you don't have a rebellious spirit on the spiritual journey, you're not going to live out your freedom. You have to be a little edgy. You got to be a little, have that disrespectful respect, and respect your integrity and respect yourself. And I'm going to share to my personal page, but I'm going to also share out to all of the groups. So allow me to do that as well. And if you're coming into the feed, I'm just going to be talking about how you must be rebellious and stand in your authority and stand in your power and stand for who you are and respect who you are and accept who you are and accept that this is your life. And it's waiting for you to begin it. It's waiting for you to begin your journey. And your journey is a journey in itself, and it's a never-ending process. So I want you guys to understand that you must have a rebellious spirit. You must go against the family dynamic. You must go against your friends. You must go against your coworkers. You must go against the darkness. The darkness has had its grasp on this whole world for a very, very long time. And now the light is emerging through. It's making a big hole so that the light can creep in. The darkness has had their way with this whole universe for a very, very long time. But now we're here as the spiritual rebels, as the entities of love, light, and wisdom. And we are coming in and we're changing the rules. We're changing the game. We're instilling a new way of being in this life. So I just wanted to leave you with that, but I'm going to share out to all the groups, and I'm not going to get too ahead of myself while I'm talking. So without further ado, I'm going to share out to all of the groups. So give me a moment to do so. I can't share out anymore. But this is White Wolf. How's everybody doing? And I want you guys to understand is that you must stand in your power. You must own your power. You must claim your power. You must know who you are and what you want out of this life. And you must have a rebellious spirit, because everybody has a rebellious spirit. We have all suppressed our true nature. We have all suppressed who we are. We all felt like we didn't belong here. Everybody who has a rebellious spirit has never felt like they belonged here. They never felt like they fit in to this human world, in this human experience. That's why we awaken. That's why we meditate. That's why we try to accumulate spiritual mass. That's why we try to understand our purpose here, why we are meant to be who we are in this moment, and how we want to grow, how we want to go about this gradual journey, how we want to go into gratitude. And sometimes your happiness may not resonate with other people, but it's us finding our own true resonance. That is rebellious, is to find your happiness, is to fight for love, is to fight for your authenticity. It is a tug of war battling the darkness. That's why we all need a rebellious spirit, because we're all fighting off negative entities. We're all fighting off the way that the dark wants the world to be. So we are having a battle between light and dark, and the light is winning. For the first time in a long time, the light is winning. The light is prevailing. But you notice all the superhero movies, they all have a backstory. They all have a reason why they do what they do. They all have a reason why they became a superhero. You all have a backstory. You all have a triumphant journey. You all have a reason why you're here on this earth and why you are meant to awaken many, many human beings. So what I want you to understand is that we're here to teach other people their truth. We're here to teach other people their words of wisdom. We're here to instill something within others so that they can show other people to do this, so they can get the word out. They're all trying to get their words out. They're all trying to get their authentic expression out. And we're here to trigger people. We're not here just to piss people off, but we are here to trigger something within somebody, because sometimes we don't know what people need. We don't know what they want. But we do know that they need to learn their own lessons, because everybody has their own higher self. Everybody is their own free being, and everybody has their own free will. But the people who want to learn from us, the people that want to emulate from us, the people that see that we're the example for them so that they can be an example for other people, that is being rebellious. You're going against the mold. You're going against the generational pattern. You're going against everything that did not resonate for you, that did not soothe you, that did not please you, that did not feel as if that was your true nature. And once we do this, it's a very liberating thing. Once we understand that we can escape the family dynamic, once we understand that we can escape being limited, being shackled, being shut out, being suppressed. And sometimes I don't like to go around other humans because I feel like I have to suppress who I am. And sometimes when you have to go around other people, or just from your day-to-day practices, you don't need other people's energy. You don't need to have your energy field fucked with. You don't need to be around people that don't confirm who you are. So change everything within your reality so that it is confirming who you really are and what you want to resemble. That is staying grounded. That is standing in your truth. That is staying within your reality and what you want it to be, how you want it to be true for yourself. Are you going to be true to yourself? Are you going to be honest with yourself? Are you going to be open to receiving? Sometimes our rebellious spirit can be used for the worst thing. But how can we turn our rebellious spirit into a beautiful thing, a wonderful thing? And realizing that you have true freedom is you being edgy, is you being very, very smart, and how you get really, really smart very fast. And how you respect your free will. No, mom and dad, I will go do this. I will date this person. I will be with two people if I wanted to be with two people. If I was a man and I wanted to be with another man and that's what spoke to me. Maybe I wanted to live out of a box and that truly spoke to you. Maybe you want to dress as if you were from the Victorian era. If that really spoke to you within your spirit, why would you suppress that? Why would you limit yourself? Why would you? And when we suppress, that is us not being rebellious. When we suppress, we're staying within the norm. We're staying within stagnation. We're standing in limitation. But when you are expansive, there is the only way to be expansive is to be rebellious, is to be a barrier breaker, to be transcendent in all ways of living. So, how many times in our lives that we've been suppressed by other people, been suppressed by our partner, been suppressed by our family, been suppressed by our job, feeling like we can't get out of a certain situation, feeling like that we didn't really feel at home with the reality that we were once living in, and then we get into this new reality and we just went for it, we just rolled the dice, we see where it landed for us and that it made us truly, truly happy. In a lot of people's journeys, the most amazing people in this life have been perceived selfish. They have been perceived like they're running a cult. They have been perceived like they are charlatans. And it's because they're doing something in the eyes of God that has not been seen before, that has not been recognized before. Jesus was a rebel. He healed people. He cursed a fig tree. Jesus was an absolute rebel. He preyed for people that were of the less fortune. We're supposed to learn from the drudges of society. We're supposed to learn from everyday people. We're supposed to learn that we don't have to live that way, but that God is on everybody's life. And sometimes when we branch out and we are the most rebellious, we become the black sheep, but it's only a perception in other people's eyes of who they think that you are. It's only a misperception. It's a misaligned view of who you really are. But once you really know that this is all an illusion and that everybody is breathing into this illusion, that they're doing things with disillusion, you realize that you're not the one that's delusional. You are the one who is in the light. You are the one who is bright. You are the one who is trying to find their natural intelligence. And once we try to find our natural intelligence, find our wisdom, find our grace, find our happiness, it's going to trigger a lot of people. And there's a lot of false prophets out there. And we have to shed light on that. We have to call people out. We have to call people to the carpet. We have to show that there's people deceiving people who are thinking they are of the most highest Christ light, when really they are not of the highest Christ light. They are not in your best interest. They are actually deceiving people. So we need, as the prophets of the Lord, of our Heavenly Father, we need to point out the false prophets. We need to shed light onto that. We need to be rebellious. We need to encompass who we are. We need to make crazy titles on our YouTube videos. We really need to try to stir up the demons into other people so that they can see it. And it's not an attempt to make people angry. It's not an attempt. It's your authentic expression. It's not necessarily your authentic expression, but it is the creation that is coming out of you. You're speaking worlds into existence. You're speaking the stars into existence. You're speaking your metaphysical truth into existence. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of rebellion. It takes a lot of not caring. It's the vibration of not giving a fuck. And once you start to understand that this illusion and these circumstances and these troubles and these worries and these people have nothing to do with your state of being, but you have something to do with your state of being, you're like, no, I will not watch that TV program that's bringing me hope and hopelessness and despair. I will watch something that inspires me. I will surround myself with inspiration. I will protect the blessing, walk in the blessing, emulate the blessing, understand that there's heat-seeking missile of blessings chasing me down, and I will not allow anyone else to come into my energetic field that is not wanted, that is not needed, that is not of the highest light. But we are here to really be rebellious. Jesus was rebellious. The prophet Paul, the apostle Paul, was very rebellious. He did a lot of bad things. And I'm not saying that you can do so many bad things that you can't be redeemed, but this is your redemption story. This is the second chance that you've been waiting for, maybe for 20 or 30 years, and you finally get to have the choice that you get to choose bliss, that you get to choose ecstasy, that you get to choose what superhero you want to be. You get to choose heaven and hell today. That is really rebellious. You're like, fuck this. I'm going to choose heaven today. I'm going to choose bliss today. I'm going to choose happiness today. I get to choose what ice cream I get to have today. And all the other 12 aspects of me gets to choose what they want to be today, because I'm on this spiritual journey. And once the different variations of source are in alignment with yourself, the monad, the I am presence, once they are all in alignment and recognition with who you are and what they are, and everything is sort of in alignment and confirms what you are and what you want to be in this life, then it's a very liberating thing to be rebellious. Everybody always thinks of rebellion as anarchy, as something negative, as something evil, as something, but a lot of the times you will do things and it will shock people. It will shock the world. People will send you death threats, but it's really just stirring up the darkness. It's stirring their demons up. It's stirring everybody else's bullshit so that they're forced to look at it. Because on the spiritual journey, you're forced to look at your own shit. You're forced to have a lot of reflections that aren't pleasant. You're supposed to own your shit. You're supposed to really become who you are. And you won't be able to become who you are if you don't own up your shit. If you don't really receive the healing that is on this journey. So what I want you guys to understand is that you must be courageous on this path to find true bliss. To become enlightened, it will cost you everything. You will lose everything. You will lose everything from the human condition. But it's costing you all the things that were holding you back. That's what it means to be rebellious. You are getting rid of all of the things that are holding you back in this life, keeping you from your true nature, keeping you from your destiny, keeping you from your prophecy that you were meant to fulfill. Everything that happened in your life happened for a reason. Everything that was challenging for you was challenging for a reason. Everything that was reflecting to you that you need to make a different choice, a different decision, a different cause, and a different effect, so that There's a different charge within your reality. And sometimes you must make a lot of people mad in order to be rebellious. Even people back in the 1800s, all of the prophets, all of the great people in this life have had to really do a lot of things to fulfill their destiny. And they weren't pleasant, and they weren't always right, and they weren't always rainbows and butterflies. But those will be the moments that truly make you in this life. They will make you into the man or the woman that you are today. They will make you become the prophet that you are today. They will make you and mold you, and it will make and break you. But you will feel so liberated once you say, fuck it. I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to buy what I want to buy within the space that I can create. I will do the things that make me feel loved. I will get my word around in my local communities so that I can inspire people wherever I go, whatever I do, whoever wants my inspiration. Respect free will, but at the same time, people will be drawn to you. People will come to you. People will chase you down. People will be knocking at your door for you to help them become rebellious, to become edgy, to become a person who takes risks. You have to be rebellious in order to take risks, because risks are very scary until you do it. Until you just make the payment. Until you just jump off the cliff and dive into the essential oils of Source. Until you just do it. You know that slogan by Nike, just do it. There's a lot of truth in that. But sometimes we talk ourselves out of things because we're just too afraid to do it. We're too afraid to take that chance. We're too afraid to just roll the dice and see where it lands. We're afraid to follow our path because it might upset people. It might trigger people. It might make us lose our job. We might even quit our job. We might start making YouTube videos. We might start going live. We might start doing retreats. And then, people are labeling us as a cult, but maybe we are a cult in their eyes, but that's only in that person's eyes. That's just a misperception. We all have misperceptions, but we all have a truth, even if it comes from a third density level of consciousness. Doesn't mean that it's not truthful, but it's just their truth from a lower frequency. But your truth comes from sixth density, and it's from a higher vibratory state than their truth. But your truth is your truth, and who are we to say that we know everything that we're supposed to know? We need to become innocent, and we need to become purified, and that we don't know. We don't know everything that we're supposed to know. We don't want to know. We want to go into the unknown. The unknown is fun. The unknown allows the journey to shine forth. The unknown allows you to understand that there's more things to be learned. But everybody in this world is usually complacent. They're very egotistical. They know it all. They're such an adult just because they're old, just because they have a lot of success. But it doesn't mean that they're happy. It doesn't mean that success that they acquire doesn't mean that they're happy with that success. And I'll never tell you that having a lot of money is success, having a nice car is success. But maybe that nice car represents who you are. Maybe that nice house represents who you are. Maybe this cigar represents who you are. Maybe it represents your authority. But you got to have the allowance to have the things that you want, to have the things that you desire. And ultimately, they'll be the things that you have a necessity for. But how are you ever going to become a risk taker if you don't have a little rebellion in you? And most of us as light workers, we went through absolute hell. We've been abused. We've had trauma, sexual trauma, so many different kinds of things that allowed us to be rebellious, because we've had people in our lives try to suppress who we are. There's been people that have never liked us because we had such a high vibration. And what we have to understand is that we have to follow our destiny above all else. And we have to embrace who we really are. It takes a lot of rebellion to embrace who you are, embrace the true self, embrace the higher self shining forth. And once you embrace that higher self, your triggers will limit, your triggers will come to a standstill, your emotions will come to a standstill, your reflections will come to a standstill, and you will understand that the journey is the journey. It's a never-ending process. And once you understand that you just have to really believe in yourself. If you don't believe in anything, if you don't believe in nothing, if you believe that science is your truth, that's all well and good. If there's nobody that you really believe in, you gotta believe in yourself. Because no one else is going to believe in yourself. No one's going to bestow this gift upon you. No one is going to take you by the hand and show you what creation really is. Only you will show you what your creation is, what your signature is. I can only had MorningStar help me so much going live, but she had to let go of the reins. She had to let me find my own truth, find my own wonderment, find my own magic. And sometimes we're just not willing to ask for help. How can we start a rebellion if we're not willing to ask for help? But sometimes it just takes us making a decision without any consequences. When we don't give consequences so much meaning, when we don't give circumstances so much meaning, when we don't give a bad situation so much meaning, when we get into an argument with our loved one, we shouldn't give it so much meaning, because it's really just both of the counterparts getting over their own stuff. But at the end of the day, when are you going to get over not taking chances, not taking risks? Because in my spiritual journey, in the beginning of my spiritual journey, I was unfulfilled, and I asked for something and I received it. And I had to take some chances. I had to go against some people. I had to really understand that my freedom was only going to be bestowed to me if I took risks, if I rolled the dice, if I really took a chance on myself, if I really believed in myself and I believed in my journey. And the spiritual journey will make you believe in yourself. Even if there's a gun pointed at you, it will make you believe in yourself. You won't fear death. That's how we get over the fear of death. I'm never afraid of dying. There's no point in to be afraid of your own death. Because you know what? If it was time for you to go, then you're going to experience a whole new state of being, and none of this really even mattered. So you got to be happy where you are in all situations and where you're coming from. Purify where you're coming from, so that when you get to where you are, you're not upset because you missed out on a lesson, you missed out on this and this and that. So we got to be happy with any situation that we are in. And we just got to embrace and roll with the punches. And just because we get knocked down doesn't mean that we can't get back up. We can't give up on ourselves. We can't give up on Source. We can't give up on Source. When we give up on ourselves, we are giving up on Source. We are not the Alpha and the Omega, but we are another mighty hero. We are another prophet of the Lord. We are truly, this whole life is a living testament to your freedom. And if I didn't know my freedom, I wouldn't be going live. If I didn't know my truth, I wouldn't be speaking to you right now. If I didn't know what words to use, I wouldn't be coming from my higher self. If I didn't know what energy work to do, I wouldn't understand my own energy signature. That stupid Mudra energy is my energy signature. It's who I am. Crystals wasn't who I am. Yes, we can learn from people. We can listen to people. We can try to emulate what someone does. We can try to see what their example is. But you got to be your own example. You got to be your own self. You got to be you. And that takes true rebellion, is to be yourself. Is to not care about what other people think. Is to not give a fuck. I mean, it's truly the vibration of not caring. And it's not that you don't have, it's attachment to non-attachment. You can't be so attached with a paradigm that you're in. You can't be attached to a situation that you're in. You can't be attached to people, places, and things, and scenery. It's all temporary. So, but what we got to understand, we got to realize that the people that have been there for us in our lives are the people that have been in our corner, that have loved us, that have cherished us. It's our spiritual tribe. And it takes a long time to find your spiritual tribe, but once you do that, they'll help you be more rebellious. They'll help you be more masterful. because we can act like we can do all of this by ourselves, but some of us can't do this all by ourselves. I know I can't do it by myself, and thank God that I have MorningStar in my life, because she helped me through a lot of the beginning stages of my spiritual awakening, and it was tough. Most people would have been in a psych ward after going through the things that I had to go through, but it was because I had a great anointing on my life. And the chosen ones are the most rebellious. Those are the rebels. The chosen are the most rebellious because they're a lot like Jesus. They're a lot like Samson. They're a lot like John the Baptist. They're a lot like these other prophets in the Bible. And we are living a human testament of our true freedom, of our true rebellion, of our true poetic justice, of escaping the human condition. We're escaping the human condition. We're not seeing from a human perspective, but we're seeing from a higher perspective. We're trying to be the God or the goddess within. It's hard. It's hard to find your truth. It's hard to say what you need to say. But half the time, people aren't going to really recognize you being nervous, you being kind of shaky. They're just going to see your heart, and they're just going to see the transcendence shining forth, and they're just going to see you. And some of you who are watching, I can tell you right now that some of you who are watching need to put yourself out there. You guys need to make videos. You guys need to go live. You need to go make meetup groups, which I'm going to be starting one very, very soon here in Palm Harbor. I'm not going to give everything away right now because I want this to be a very revolutionary idea. But I want you to understand that there are situations, there are divine connections to be made to allow you, to propel you into your spiritual awakening process. There will be people to help you, teach you about your rebellion. I know Thomas Sawyer. He's very rebellious. He's very masculine when he goes live. It takes a lot of courage to call people out on their bullshit, to call people out, to call everybody and put it out on the table. Because sometimes people are afraid of the backlash. And I knew in my spiritual journey that I've been called every name in the book, that I've been called a charlatan, that I've been called a cult leader. And I am a cult leader, if that's what they want me to be. But I know who I am, and I know what my Heavenly Father thinks of me. So check in with your Heavenly Father. Check in with how He thinks of you, not what other people think of you. I mean, you know what you're doing is right in the eyes of God. You know what you're doing in this exact moment is where you need to be and what you need to do and how you need to be in this life. So what I want you guys to understand is that you got to be rebellious. You have to take chances. You have to really understand that this is all or nothing. And they wouldn't have called you on this path for no reason. There's a reason for everything. There's a reason for the people that you meet. There's a reason for things changing, things shifting. There's a reason why we clear ourselves. It's to make us understand our freedom, our rebellion, our empowerment, our self-actualization, our self-realization of the true self. It makes us understand more and more of who we are. If we don't understand who we are, we're never going to follow the highest light of our destiny. We're never going to understand the whole point of this process. We're never going to understand who we really are. And once we don't understand who we really are, we're living a lie. And then once we're living our truth, we start to become very, very rebellious. I have a very rebellious spirit. I don't like being told what to do. Nobody likes to be told what to do. But do what God tells you to do. Have an aligned plan. Have a divine plan. Have divine connections. Have a divine life. Be the divine ray of your ascension path. So, what we have to understand is that not everybody's going to like our message. Not everybody's going to resonate with us. Not everybody's going to vibe with us. but that's okay. We are meant to be an individual. That's what makes us rebellious, is that we're individuated. We're individual. We're not just the same guy. We're not Joel Osteen. We're not Bentinho Massara. We're not Matt Kahn. I'm White Wolf. She's Morningstar. He's Thomas Sawyer. We're all our own thing. We're all our own song with a certain beat, in a certain rhythm, in a certain percussion. And we just got to find out what our inner song is. We got to figure out who we really are and what we want to be and what we want to do. But don't ever suppress who you are. Suppression is prohibiting creation to shine forth. Once you suppress, once you're closed in a conflicted state, and you see someone else who is really vibing high, it's going to be a teacher for you. It's going to show you something. But ultimately, we are our own teacher. We are teaching ourselves stuff. We are showing ourselves the way. And sometimes people have to have a teacher in their life. But don't be afraid to learn even more. It's how you become smart very fast, is when you never stop learning what you need to know. And once you embrace who you are and embrace the inner knowing that you have, the rest will come easy and come very, very organically for you, supernaturally organic. But we weren't meant to suppress who we are. We weren't meant to love a specific gender. We weren't meant to just work a job for 40 years and do what our parents tell us to do. You don't have to do what mommy and daddy told you to do. It's not in the rule book. There is a cosmological law to the universe. It's respecting your free will is what's really rebellious, to a fucking T. If you do that to a T, then the rest comes very easy. But respect yourself. Emulate the light of the Oracle of Light and Wisdom. Emulate it. Become everything that you were meant to be, that you were created to be, that you were destined to be. And once you do that, there'll be such a clarity that shines forth through you and from you. It will breathe life into people. It will show people the way. And if you just keep awakening people from here, from there, and planting new seeds, and just keep planting trees, keep planting bonsai plants, keep going everywhere you need to go, and just don't stay somewhere for too long if it's not needed. Some people don't like it that I smoke a cigar, but it allows me to express myself in a very authentic way. It allows me to express myself in the way that I want to express myself. But we got to understand, it's not about the flavor of ice cream that everybody likes. It's about us standing in the enlightened rebellion, really. Because we are a rebellion. We are meant to be rebellious. We are meant to shed the truth. We are meant to be a barrier breaker and break the generational curse that has been on our soul. And we're trying to make the most of this sacred timeline of enlightenment. We're trying to make the most of this human experience. But sometimes we got to realize that we're not just a silly human being, that we can be really, really transcendent in this life. So what I want you guys to understand is that you are not limited, you are not shackled, you are here to be very, very rebellious. But don't take this rebellion as negativity. Don't do it to be a destroyer. Be it to be a creator. Be it to be a builder. Build up the collective with your rebellion, and then you will inspire people with a single thought. You will inspire people with your words of wisdom, and they'll receive heart-healing activations from it. But we are meant to speak our truth. We weren't meant to be suppressed. That's why it feels bad when you live in the vibration of disappointment, of lack, of condemnation, and sadness, suffering, depression. That's why it feels bad when we feel those things, because they are not our true nature. They are not, it doesn't resemble who we are as a soul. It doesn't resemble who we are. It's not who we are. It's a figment of our imagination that we have to stay within a certain paradigm. We don't have to stay within the illusion. We can breathe life into our life. Sometimes it just takes a deep breath. Sometimes it just takes a deep breath. Sometimes it just takes time to contemplation. Sometimes it takes time of asking, how can I be more and more and more rebellious? How can I stand my authority? How can I claim my power? How can I speak truth and speak words on the people's lives? Well, the first step is to really just not care what other people think. Not care what the 3D thinks. But if you're doing everything right within the eyes of God's source energy and your higher self to the physical body, so that you do not limit the physical mind, then just go with it. Just go with the flow and go with the allowance of your journey. Allow yourself to be creative. Allow yourself to be awesome. Allow yourself to be holy, and treat yourself like a sacred gift, and realize that you're very important to this world. And once you realize your importance and that God's grace is on your life, you're just going to become who you are every single year. You'll see yourself in 10 years and you won't even be able to recognize yourself from those past 10 years. You'll be like, wow, I looked like a little kid, you know. Even though you weren't really a little kid when you started off, you were just channeling what you were supposed to channel, because I was very rebellious very early on the spiritual journey. I was very rebellious. I was, you know, like, fuck this, fuck that, and like, I was just very expressive. That's how I felt like I should express myself. And most people should express themselves that way, because if you don't, then you're just going to give the message quite like an actor or a politician, where you're just trying to please people. And you can't be a people pleaser when you're being rebellious. You're always going to say something really, really authentic to people. And it might land for some people, and it might not land for other people. But that's the price of being rebellious and being authentic and speaking the truth when it needs to be spoken. There's a price that we pay on the spiritual path, but it ultimately yields the best rewards. It really rewards you and helps you become who you really are and what you were meant to be and what you were meant to do. And it is you living your calling. You living your calling is very, very rebellious. It's very rebellious to live your calling, is to become who you are and not suppress that. Don't suppress who you are for anyone, for a master, for anything. It does not serve you. And once you have, everybody who's a light worker has a rebellious spirit, because they had to go through hell. They had to fight to be who they are today. They had to fight tooth and nail. They had to go through the darkness to see the light. And once you realize that it's a purification of every mistake you ever made, of the times you didn't forgive yourselves, of the times you didn't forgive others, of the times that you didn't love yourself, of the times that you didn't act on what you needed to act on. And it is a whole purification and a healing process of healing yourself from the human condition. That's what it takes to be rebellious. Is to be purified, is to be happy, is to be blissful, is to acquire ecstasy. It's very, very rebellious. But once you really see that it's you trying to show people that they can live their best life today, It takes a lot of rebellion. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of not taking anybody else's horse manure. So if I leave you with this one last thing before I get off here, would you rather be honest with yourself or live a lie? Would you rather hallucinate throughout your whole life as if you were on psychedelics or a drug, and realizing that the 3D has been limiting you, giving you stagnation, giving you conditioning, giving you all the things that don't bring you joy, happiness, bliss? Would you rather live a lie? Or would you rather be grounded in truth? I'd rather be grounded in truth. I'd rather be the heart, not the brain. So I'm going to leave you guys with that, but thank you so much for watching. Feel free to donate. If you don't see this live feed now, please go to bitchute, MorningStar and I Am Movement. Go to Instagram, I_M_movement, all lowercase. Go to our Facebook page, I capital space M capital space M capital movement. The rest is lowercase. And please go to our YouTube channel, MorningStar I Am Movement. And please go to TikTok, MorningStar967. And also, please check us out on Divine Ray. It's MorningStar and White Wolf. So, without further ado, I'm going to end this broadcast, and I'm going to upload it to all the other platforms. So, thank you all for tuning into this broadcast. And there will be stuff coming down the pike. I hope you understand that. I will be making a meetup group in Palm Harbor, so stay tuned for that. And there's other things coming down the pipeline. Big surprises. So, I love you all, and you all have a blessed evening, day, or night.